Welcome to our Lunchtime Live program on WJEJ, a partnership once a month with Washington County Public Schools. Today, this is Will Kaufman from the Public Information Office. I'm joined by Jodi Smith, who is a Literacy Achievement Coordinator in the English Language Arts Department with Washington County Public Schools. Dr. Ann Anders joins us, also working for Washington County Public Schools, but set up at Barbara Ingram School for the Arts as lead teacher and technology coordinator at Barbara Ingram, also president of the Washington County Literacy Chapter, which is our focus today. I know we've told you about Dr. Chris McGee, who was to join us, but something came up for Chris at the 11th hour, and she is unable to join us today. But I think we'll be okay in getting our topic covered today. Today's show is sponsored by Volvo Group Trucks, a premier employer in Washington County. Follow them on Facebook at Volvo Group Hagerstown or visit the website volvogroup.com/Hagerstown. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to have you. This should be a good subject. I had actually mistakenly referred to it as getting the County Literacy Council back in business. And that's not, explain to me what it is that we're talking about. Not that I don't know now, but it's the literacy chapter. There's a difference from what we had known before.
Well, yes, there is. So I think before, if you're familiar with the Washington County Reading Council, we definitely are on that same path. We're still connected to the state association. So it used to be SOMARAC, and so there was a conference, and everybody knew of SOMARAC leading the state in reading. Well, the state sort of shifted now and looking more at a literacy focus. So it's reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And so our chapter then is still aligned and with the state, and we just have really shifted to being a chapter then. And the Literacy Association is the state name, and we're a literacy chapter.
Right. How did this come to pass?
Well, I guess when the Reading Council sort of fizzled out years ago, there were some of us in the county who went and joined another council just because there wasn't a council here. And a couple years ago, we all decided, we really need to spark that enthusiasm and foster the love of literacy here in Washington County and really pull forces together. Well, there wasn't, when we contacted the state at that time, they were going through this shift that I just talked about, where they were shifting according to what was happening internationally with the Reading Council. So we had to sort of put everything on hold, follow another chapter at that time, and then when it became available, we were able then to start our work here in Washington County.
What were the moments of inspiration to really get after this? What was part of that checklist? Hey, we could be doing better with this. We could add this. We could get the community more involved. We could get the schools more involved. We could get organizations more involved in this, and this. What was on that list that it was a void in one area? It was maybe not up to speed in another area. What were those kinds of things that ultimately sealed it? Yeah, we can get after this in an organized, coordinated way.
Well, I think when we look at the way that literacy has become important in our county as well, I think this just seemed to kind of fit perfectly. When we started talking to people about bringing the Literacy Council back into being, we got lots of interest right away. People were so excited. I think at our first event, we already have over 40 members, and that was just from one small little event. So I think that we knew the interest was there, and we just wanted to focus on that piece of literacy. Sorry.
Who are members? Who are the members?
So right now we're very excited because we have a lot of community members. We do have a lot of teachers in Washington County Public Schools. We also have a lot of FSU future teachers, which is exciting to bring them on board. We have various literacy groups out there within the county. We're all trying to come together. So they're joining also our group. So I think it's a pretty wide audience, and we we're just starting. So our hope is to reach out to daycare providers. We want to get other groups involved as well. We want to get our families involved. We do have a student rate, and we have some high school students that we want to reach out to and encourage them to get involved. So this is really a group for the whole community.
So this group would be then the leader of the effort? I mean, without you guys strong-arming your way into that role, does it make sense for you to be the umbrella of all of these other community, maybe more specific organizations?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hoping for. So when we originally got together over the summer, we invited a lot of those organizations together to help us build our vision and our mission. We met at Washington County Free Library, and they've been very active in taking part in this. And it was just a great collaborative event where we could all come together and sort of form what is it that we want as a community.
Well, and when you look at the people that we brought into that retreat that we had in the summer, we brought in folks from the Washington County Free Library, from On Track Washington County, from FSU, and even from the public school system. Some of our other partners are like Books for Babies. So there are all kinds of organizations that we're trying to bring together and put under that umbrella, as you said.
How do you use them all? What's the vision of using all of these organizations? Everybody comes to the meeting. Everybody's under the same umbrella, informally speaking. How do you set everybody in directions that produce one greater whole?
Right, and I think that's being formed right now since we're so new. So our work really began as a group in September. So we had that kickoff event in January, and we now have members. We're forming committees now. So we're hoping to pull some of those people in to be leaders in our committees. And like you said, we're going to have a greater impact if we're all working together.
All right. What are some of those, without even some of the directions being specific and being well formed at this point? Give us an idea of, some of the branches of this as it goes. How would you see this playing out with this group or this group of groups, and we're going to have them do this as part of our effort?
Well, we mentioned Books for Babies. So that's an outreach to Meritus Hospital where newborns are receiving a book and the families are receiving information about the importance of reading to their child. So, that would be one branch of what we're hoping to pull Books for Babies in. And now, instead of just looking at Washington County Public Schools and maybe a pre-K through 12 focus, now we're really looking at birth to 5 and what is the expertise of the people working with Books for Babies that they can collaborate with us so that we're seamless and we're all aligned in, our impact for the county.
Books for Babies is not some cute little endeavor either. They had, what was the number? 30,000. They just had to, it's most incredible.
Yes.
It is.
That's a lot.
It's fantastic. We also are looking at trying to, as well as the babies, get some of our students more involved too. There's a young authors, and Annie could probably speak to it a little more clearly, but there is a young authors contest that we will be hosting. We're pulling in some local authors, local authors and others to work with our teachers as well. If teachers want to come and participate in professional development with those authors and talk to them and hear from them what it's like to write a book and why they wrote that book and those kinds of things.
So many opportunities. You can do events only limited by everybody's creativity. At the root level, though, if we look at, let's just say, literacy in Washington County, we have, I'll say diplomatically, we have a ways to go, I would say. What's your group's role and the groups within your group? What's the role in picking up that level of literacy in the county, just in general terms?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that we would like to do is, as we mentioned, is try and get everybody on the same page so that we are all working towards a common goal of improving the reading and the literacy in Washington County, whether it be school children or birth to 5 or even adults who are struggling with literacy. And I think that in conjunction with WCPS, been able to offer or come up with some ideas for our future events that will show how we can work together. For example, we are going to be supporting the Lit Fest, the second annual Lit Fest that will happen at the end of May. And so we're working together with WCPS to put that together so that we can, again, as I said, make literacy our focus.
Let me come back to LitFest. That got off to a great start last year
Yes.
when it was held. Let me do one thing first, and
Okay.
that's our sponsor mention. Volvo Group Trucks, a premier employer in Washington County, is supporting our show today. Follow them on Facebook at Volvo Group Hagerstown or visit the website volvogroup.com/Hagerstown. This is Lunchtime Live on WJEJ. My guest today, Dr. Ann Anders, president of the Washington County Literacy Chapter, lead teacher and technology coordinator at Barbara Ingram School. And Jodi Smith is here, an employee of the Washington County Public Schools, literacy achievement coordinator in the English Language Arts Department. Okay, LitFest. Give me more specifics about LitFest. First of all, it's catchy, which should draw some folks to begin with, but they had a bang-up time last time they did.
Yeah, we did.
We had a great turnout last year for the first Lit Fest, which is held on the front lawn at CES. We had a lot of our content areas put together booths where they could talk about literacy in their content area. We had other companies and things come in. Girls Incorporated were here and other places. And it was just a really good way for us to talk about literacy and show its importance. It was also, for us, the wind down of our summer reading program. So it was a way for us to then collect all of those. And we also gave out lots of books to kids that came. This year, we decided to change it and put it and selected the day in May to have the event because we want to use it as a kickoff to our summer reading program this year. So instead of the end of the summer, we chose to do the beginning of the summer. So kids will again come. We have lots of vendors that we're trying to reach out to and get set up for. We're hoping to make it even bigger and better this year. But that will be held on May 29th, which is a Wednesday, I think.
Okay.
From 5 to 7 at the central office on the front lawn there. So we've got lots of great events planned. Lit Council's working in conjunction with WCPS to put that together.
Big crowd. That was a big
Yeah, it
crowd in the
was.
first attempt.
I think
I think we got a nice day, first of all.
we had a beautiful day,
Yeah.
And we're hoping, cross our fingers,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens
exactly.
again.
Yeah, maybe we'll get all of this out of our system
Yeah.
here in these couple of months, and we'll be ready by May.
Yeah.
The summer reading program is who organizes that? How does that get?
So that's Washington County Public Schools and also the Washington County Free Library. We're really looking to partner closer this year. And so as a Lit Fest, that's sort of the discussion that's going on right now. The library has their program ready to roll, and Washington County Public Schools is looking at partnering and seeing how we can really be more impactful in our work together.
What would you, between the two of you, at the individual level, if we had one family listening to us right now, how would you guide them into transitioning from the end of a school year into and through the summer when it comes to reading, writing, the broader topic of literacy? How would you advise them?
I think the most important thing is to find things that your kids will enjoy reading. Find what topics and genres they enjoy and just get them into books. Even if they're books that are difficult for them that you would have to read with them, or even if they're just looking at pictures and you're having conversations about what is in that book. But giving them that opportunity to explore lots of different things, visiting the library and trying out different books, so you don't necessarily have to buy books. I know last year the library media department of Washington County Public Schools put together a section on the parent portal where you could go and read certain books that they had online. So that's another option. But I would just say read as much as you can. Give them as much exposure as you can to different things.
And I would say authentic experiences really lend themselves to literacy growth. For example, in the summer, maybe you're going to the zoo. So how about researching some of those animals at the zoo and make it authentic so that students are reading about things that are happening to them in their lives. And then, let's write to grandma and tell her about that trip that we took to the zoo. Call someone and talk to them about your trip to the zoo. Get the pamphlets and read through the pamphlets. Plan the day. Let's organize our time at the zoo. I mean, we can take events that we're doing in the summer and turn them into amazing opportunities for our students with literacy embedded within.
Some part of the inaction in the community, I think, when it comes to literacy, is certainly a generational thing. That some parents and grandparents haven't grown up in either in a community, in the schools in a community, or in both, or in families where where reading, writing has either been a strength or has been a focus of any sort. For those folks who are hearing you two today, or getting inspiration from any other corner, if they're starting from zero, so to speak, well, how can you even get them started? Where is there a book list? What are the resources available to them? Where are those resources to get them started at their house?
I would say to go visit the library. I mean, Washington County Free Public Library has an assortment of events throughout every week. And there are so many inspirational events that just foster the love of literacy. A storyteller, STEM nights. They have a lot of gaming events going on that can outreach to our community, and it's just a great place to begin.
I would also say that if you're looking for something, and your child's teacher might be a great place to start too. Lots of our teachers have extraordinary knowledge of books and can definitely recommend, and especially if it's a student that they've worked with all year and they know a little bit about that student. But I would say, Annie, I think the library is definitely a good place to start.
Does this work in the opposite direction, where staff members, teachers, specialists inspire the kids? The kids are excited about reading and all aspects of literacy and take that excitement home?
Oh, certainly. I mean, that's ideal, isn't it?
It really is.
Yes.
Where the child just comes home and is, begging to, I want a new book from the Scholastic Book Fair, or can we please go visit the library, or let me tell you about this book. Yeah, I think we have a big job as educators, and I mean, to me, that's the love of teaching reading and being involved with literacy, is being able to develop that passion in our youth.
Can that happen at all levels? If a child, for whatever the reason or reasons, that you get them at the high school level, and all of a sudden can that inspiration kick in as of 10th grade or a senior in high school where it hadn't been that strong a focus before? We don't have to get them birth to 5 or first, second, third grade.
I think that there is definitely there's definitely always a chance to reach a student, no matter what age level they are. It's really about finding that material that they can access and that they enjoy and that is authentic to them. I work with a lot of different schools, and in my role as secondary literacy achievement coordinator, I work with middle and high schools. And in one high school in particular, there was a young man in a class who it took us a couple weeks for him to even get the earbuds out of his ears. And when we talked to him, he said, "This is what I would like to read." And we went and got him some books that he wanted, and he's read 4 of them already. So I think that is a possibility. I think it just takes some time and it takes some work and effort in finding what's right for that student.
Is it more of I sound like an old timer. Is it more of a challenge these days? What's in the way of that? Aside from earbuds.
Yeah, I do think it is a challenge. I think social media has become a big part of especially adolescents' lives. Gaming and even television has become really important in their lives. And I think sometimes picking up a book is not necessarily their first priority.
I think time. I mean, our children are really involved in a lot of things, whether they're, working for the community, have a job, performing, there's so many activities that they're doing as they're preparing for college, and we do want those activities as well. But taking time on a snow day to read a book, what could be better?
You guys are also in charge of time management then, in some sense. I mean, that's part of it.
It is.
I in light of what you've said, and there's no mystery to that, but some lives of kids, families are just that packed.
Right, and we're talking to our high schoolers. How do you make time? Let's look at your calendar. So some of it is time management. Right. You're exactly right.
Does the delivery, the difference in the delivery of are kids more prone to pick up an electronic version of reading material? Is making that available to them maybe a good solid option, as opposed to truly a trip to the library and getting a physical book?
Yeah, I mean, we provide a lot of options for students. I always like to talk to the child myself and just say, which do you prefer? And we do look for those avenues. Again, with our initiative with one-to-one in Washington County Public School, we can offer that to students. We have options for them to read digitally or to have, the traditional paperback version. And I think everyone sort of has that passion and which they prefer.
Right. Whatever it takes, I would suspect.
Yes.
Yeah. It is actually fun to walk around and see some kids who are sitting in there in a classroom and they're reading from an actual physical book while their classmate sitting right next to them is reading from the iPad. And I definitely would be the person reading from the book. But it is really interesting. I mean, I think as Annie said, you really have to get to know the kid.
We're accomplishing the same thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're just joining us, this is Lunchtime Live. A partnership once a month, the third Thursday of the month, with Washington County Public Schools and WJEJ. Today's show is sponsored by Volvo Group Trucks, a premier employer in Washington County. Follow them on Facebook at Volvo Group Hagerstown, their website, volvogroup.com/Hagerstown. Joining me today, Dr. Ann Anders, the president of the, let's say, new Washington County Literacy Chapter, lead teacher at Barbara Ingram, technology coordinator at Barbara Ingram, and Jodi Smith is here as Literacy Achievement Coordinator in the English Language Arts Department of Washington County Public Schools. The school system plays a big part in this. You two are right in the thick of it as school system employees, but who else? We're missing Chris today from Frostburg. The partnerships have to go at so many different levels, can occur right down to the parent, the citizen level. How many different directions can this go?
I think that's endless. But it's going to depend on our membership and the people that we can bring in and those that are willing to step up and become active members and support that. Because as you mentioned, I mean, the three of us, we can only do so much. But we've had a lot of support from Washington County Public Schools. In our first event that we had, our membership event that we had in January, Dr. Michael was there and was supporting us. Laura Hanks and Stacy Henson, who are both supervisors for WCPS, were also there. And so there is a lot of support there. We had many teachers, even retired teachers, members from the library.
Yeah, we also had the Frostburg State University teachers in training, our future educators here in Washington County. They were there, and they were excited. They received lots of books for their future classrooms, so it was a fun event.
It was.
Depending on who's listening today, or whoever's listening may pass the word to somebody else, how can somebody get involved, either as an individual or as a representative of a civic group, a church group, name it? Again, the possibilities are endless.
Right. I would recommend going to our Facebook page, Washco Lit. We're really using social media to tell our story. We know that's where people are, and we do have our next event already featured on our Facebook page. So it would be great to get some more members through that. There's our link for how to become a member right there on our Facebook page as well. So that's a great place for all the information about our chapter.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned about community members. If we have other community members out there, local businesses that are interested in partnering with us, we're more than open to that. So, I mean, you can use our Facebook page or you can reach out to us through our Washington County email.
if there's not a direct involvement in, for instance, programming activities and initiatives, is that, for instance, from a business or corporate level, is there a funding need? Are there dollars involved in this in any way, where somebody could offer support in that direction?
Well, while we are nonprofit organization,
Right.
we do get a small portion of the $30 membership fee. We are selling T-shirts to raise some money, but most of our funds simply go back into those events to pay the authors to come, to purchase, giveaways and things like that. We've gotten a lot of sponsors from, for example, the Maryland Theater gave us tickets to raffle off. So there are those things that are always beneficial. So if a business is willing to donate or something like that, that would be extremely helpful.
But if someone listening right now has a small or large business and says to you, hey, listen, I have $1,000, I have $2,500. We like to spread our philanthropic efforts around the community. Just heard about you today. How could you use somebody's either sponsorship or financial support like that?
One of the things we're doing is really working on providing books. So that would be a great way for us to then go and purchase books. The state has given us probably close to 500 books, and we're putting those in the hands of teachers so they can put them in the hands of our students. We want children to have libraries in their homes so that they're reading and that it's a natural part of what they're doing day to day. So I would say if somebody were to graciously give us a donation such as that, we would be purchasing books and putting them in the hands of our youth in Washington County.
Okay, at the personal level, tell me about the two of you at a much younger age and exactly how books, what kind of books, how did books come into play? How did you grow up into literate adults, literacy-loving adults?
Well, I might date myself when I tell you what books I read.
Okay, well, you can be a little bit careful on this.
I will honestly say that I found a love for books as a young girl, reading the Laura Ingalls Wilder series, because that was something that we watched on television in the reruns, and reading her books were something that was interesting to me. And then I moved into other things. I had a great librarian in middle school who helped me find all different kinds of books to read, and I loved mysteries and things like that. So for me, it was initially the tie between something I saw on television that I could actually read about, and I got more from my own personal opinion, I feel like I loved the books more than I even loved the television.
Right.
And so that's where I think my love grew.
Yeah. Anne?
My path wasn't quite so beautiful.
That was quite romantic and quite nice.
So my father's a professor. He's an educator, and I didn't quite fit the mold. I hated reading. I wanted to be socializing and out with my friends. I have to say it was when I became a teacher, and I saw students sitting in my class who were having difficulties reading, and I thought, my gosh, I need to figure this out. I need to crack the code and figure how I can help them. So I became a reading specialist, and that was a large part of my career. And I think that's when I fell in love with, this journey of literacy and how it begins and how we have such an impact on children.
Can you judge what's current that will be classic? When we talk about classic literacy, classic literature, we look back a generation or two or longer. Boy, those were the classics. Are those being written today?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I would love to say that they are.
Time will tell, obviously.
Right.
I think there are lots of books out there that our teachers and even students are making classics because they've fallen in love with the storyline and the author, and that would be what I would see. Like when I look at some of the books, like maybe even Holes, which, as a teacher, that was one of the books that I loved reading with my students, or things like Tuck Everlasting. Those things, I think we build the love for those kinds of books within our students.
Yeah, I think of the book Wonder.
Yeah, that's a good
we
one.
see that book, I was in elementary school for many years, And I saw that book being used as a read aloud. And then I heard about middle schoolers using it for more of a book club discussion. And then high schoolers are enjoying that. So, a book like that spans many years could become a classic.
I feel like we could have just forgotten about the literacy chapter topic. We could do a half hour. I just throw out book titles, or you throw them out and just go.
Right.
It'd be look like the monthly book club with Jodi and Ann.
We love it.
Final thought. Again, if somebody wants to get involved for any number of reasons, how can they go about that?
Please, again, join us on social media. Find us on Facebook at Washco Lit, and information about our events, open to the public, open to the community. We'd love to have you. March 12th, we'll be at the Flying Camel with Ann Braden, author of The Benefits of Being an Octopus, which is our Teachers as Readers book that we're reading right now. So, again, Facebook would be a great place. We're also on Twitter. So Washco Lit is where you find us.
All right. Jodi, final thought?
I would just like to thank you for bringing us on. Literacy is near and dear to both of our hearts, and if we can inspire anyone from our little conversation, I think that's a plus.
Every now and then you just have to put it right in front of folks and continue getting positive reactions.
Right.
I think you two have generated that today.
Thank you.
I'd say. Our guest today, Dr. Ann Anders, president of the Washington County Literacy Chapter, lead teacher at Barbara Ingram School for the Arts, technology coordinator at Barbara Ingram. Jodi Smith has been with us too, Literacy Achievement Coordinator in the English Language Arts Department with Washington County Public Schools. Today's show has been sponsored by Volvo Group Trucks, a premier employer in Washington County. Follow them on Facebook at Volvo Group Hagerstown or visit the website volvogroup.com/Hagerstown. We're here the third Thursday of the month. It's Lunchtime Live with Washington County Public Schools and WJEJ.